Everyone was shocked. These are horrific attacks, and they've rightfully been condemned by everybody, all over the world. And they really caught, I think, Sri Lanka by surprise. They're, as my friend Bhavani just before me was saying, they're unprecedented even by Sri Lanka's long history, even relative to its long history of political violence. These are atrocious attacks. But I think your question is a good one, because I think they're not only unprecedented in their scale and the number of attacks in a single day and the levels of organization, but for those reasons, I think, but they're also unprecedented in the sense that the Muslim community has never struck back at any other community in Sri Lanka. Despite, as Bhavani was saying, the last 5-6 years, a sort of a sustained attack on the community by militants who say they're defending Buddhism from the threat of Islamic extremism. So until yesterday, there was really no tangible evidence of any threat of violent extremism. And I think there are a lot of questions about to what extent those, assuming again that the police investigations are uncovering the real facts and that what they've uncovered so far is true, they're wondering, a lot of people I think are wondering about whether the Sri Lankan Muslims who have been arrested were actually acting on their own, or to what degree, as the government has suggested, they were working with some other kind of international organization or network. So I think that's one of the big questions, I think, that's still to be sorted out.
The most important issue that media should be focusing on is to, number one, the government got intelligence report 10 days ago about specific targets. According to the reports I read, the intelligence identified churches. There are going to be attacks on churches by suicide bombers, as well as on the Indian embassy. So they had the intelligence, but they did not act. Either they did not take it seriously, or for whatever reason that they did not act. So the question is why they did not act is number one question people should ask, media should ask. Number two is what steps Sri Lankan government is taking to prevent any ethnic religious angles, communal violence between Muslims and Sinhalese, both Christians and Buddhists, is going to happen. There are reports of certain attacks against Muslim shops in certain parts of Sri Lanka in the Sinhalese areas. So that's also should be raised. And most importantly, the final one, ensure that civil liberties and arbitrary arrest, torture, disappearance are not taking place in the context of anti-terror operations that the government will be initiating now. The danger now we are seeing is, as Tamils faced before during the ethnic conflict and war, Sinhalese community is going to be rounded up, investigated, and also be singled out for everything. Suspects, they are going to be the suspects. Until during the war, Sri Lankan security forces, as well as the Muslims, had a very cordial relationship. Most of the Muslims were recruited as intelligence operatives because Muslims live among Tamils, as well as they speak the language Tamil. So it's easy to be intelligence officers and get information. Number two, Sri Lanka also recruited Muslims as home guards. Home guards is more of a paramilitary force against Tamil Tigers, the ethnic armed group that was fighting for 30 years. So the relationship between the Muslims as well as the military establishment was very, very close. There are so many senior Muslim officers in the international in the intelligence community, Sri Lankan intelligence community.